Colin Cowherd's best bets for week 12 of the NFL season. Is he correct or is he crazy? Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and every last one of you degenerates. It's Mitch here with my reaction to the Blazin 5. Colin Cowherd's 5 favorite picks of week 12. If that sounds good and you're ready for my thoughts on Colin's picks, Gronk, spike the like button, show your love. It's free. It's the only way I know that you're enjoying these reactions. And also, subscribe to the channel. Don't be a jabroni, bro. Come on. You want to make some money betting on the NFL? Subscribe to Money Mitch. It's time for Colin's best bets. Let me know in the comments if he's crazy or if he's correct, if you're fading or if you're following Colin in week 12. I'm pretty sure the guy, Uncle Colin, has been on fire. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy has been killing it this year. So let's see if he can keep it up, and let's see what his picks are for the week. Let's go.
But here's my blazing 5.
That's a hot one. Let's blaze it up. Fire it up. It's Colin's Blazin' 5. Vikings at Packers.
I'm going to take Green Bay as a home favorite to win and cover -6.5.
You guys already know I'm on the opposite side of this, so this is interesting. Colin likes the Packers, favored by 6.5. From watching them, I'm not sure why, but let's hear the argument.
This is about Jeff Hafley, Green Bay's defensive coordinator. He has built a very sound defense, second fewest big plays surrendered in the league. Over at least one takeaway, at least one in 5 straight games. So this is about Green Bay at home, where everybody's defense is better at home against J.J. McCarthy, who I don't think, in the face of this defense, can play clean football. He's got multiple picks in 3 of 4 starts. His completion percentage is under 53% this year. He is a quarterback that needs to play with confidence and a lead. I don't think he will. I'm going to go with Jeff Hafley's defense to create some offense. Packers win and cover. It's a lot. It's a division game, 28-20.
Yeah, so right there, starting it off, I'm on the Vikings, +6.5. First of all, I don't think the Packers are going to score 28 points in this game. So his prediction is 28-20. My prediction would be closer to Packers win 24-20. I think something closer to that degree, 23-20, okay? A lot of that has to do with the Packers' offense. I have not been impressed. I was not impressed against the Eagles. They looked horrible. I was not impressed against the Panthers. They couldn't score any points against the Panthers. They lost back-to-back games at home where they're playing this game. Last week, they played the Giants, and they barely won against the Giants. They barely, 27-20. If not for 2 miraculous Christian Watson catches, to be honest with you. And the Giants have a dreadful defense. They're the worst defense against the run in the NFL, period. The Vikings are a step up in class. They're a better defense than the Panthers. They're a better defense than the Giants. They're worse than the Eagles, but they're a good defense with familiarity. Vikings have beaten the Packers 3 out of the last 4 games, including twice last season. So Kevin O'Connell has the edge on Matt LaFleur recently. I will say that Brian Flores' unit has gotten better against the run. Josh Jacobs is unlikely to play. And when you look at the Packers' weaponry, they don't have much. Watson is really explosive. He's a good player, but they don't get him the ball more than 4 or 5 times a game. Romeo Doubs drops the ball constantly. Wicks does the same thing. They don't have Tucker Kraft. They don't have Jaden Reed. The offensive line is spotty and inconsistent. I think Flores is going to find ways to attack those protections, force Jordan Love into bad throws and bad decisions, and we've seen that throughout the season. I think Jordan Love, he's trying to win this bet and cover this spread with the EPA with his hand. I don't, you know that rock meme? That's what I'm talking about right there. Like, the offense isn't that good. And Matt LaFleur is not in his bag. And I just kind of going to fade the Packers offense, the Vikings defense to keep this close under Brian Flores. And then at the same time, the only reason anyone would back the Packers is because of J.J. McCarthy. But J.J. McCarthy went to Detroit and beat the Lions. Do we not recall that like a couple weeks ago? And he should have beat the Bears this week. They should have beat the Bears straight up at home, if not for a kick return. Like, that's really what happened. So I don't think the Packers are playing very well. I think their defense is kind of overrated. The Vikings are running the ball well. If they commit to running the ball in this game and they play good defense, they will cover this spread. I think this is too many points for an inconsistent Packer football team with an overrated quarterback and an overrated offense. I will take the points with the Vikings. I will fade Colin on this pick. Could JJ McCarthy unravel in front of our eyes and lose us this bet? Absolutely, but I'm on the Vikings here because every other reason tells me the Vikings should be in this game. They have better weapons. They have a better offensive line. They have just as good of a defense. The only thing is quarterback, and I am not in love with what I see from Jordan Love either. Second pick.
Steelers at Bears.
The up and down Steelers are going to lose. I'm going to take the Bears to win and cover -2.5. Listen,
Okay.
They've won 7 of their last 8 games. Number 2 rushing offense. They don't need big plays. Caleb does not throw a lot of picks. And at home, he's a better quarterback. At home, he's only taken 1 sack in the last 3 games, and his passer rating's mid-90s. He has been, like a lot of young quarterbacks, he's been better at home. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is banged up. They can't run the football. And right now, they've allowed 25-plus points in 3 of their 4 road games. So defenses, Cleveland's an example, Pittsburgh an example, tend to be better at home. I'm going to take the Bears to win and the Bears to cover 27-21.
I would lean Bears as well. It does scare me. Steelers underdog. If Rodgers plays, he does kind of have an ownership of the Chicago Bears. I mean, everyone knows the story there. But I do kind of agree. I think that the Bears offense is the best unit in this game by quite a wide margin. I think the Bears should have balance in this game, should be able to run the ball in this game, and should be able to protect the football. I do think that the Bears, and something that he missed here, is that Jalen Johnson could be returning to the lineup. Kyler Gordon might be returning to the lineup. Now, Chicago is very short on linebackers. Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, their 2 best linebackers, are out. That is scary. So there's a lot of unknown in this game, which is causing me to stay away. The linebacker play of the Bears, right? The quarterback position of the Steelers, Rudolph, Rodgers, okay? I'm not sure. Can the Steelers run the ball against the Bears? The Bears aren't a great run defense. They don't have their linebackers. Maybe they can. Jalen Johnson plays. How does that change Dennis Allen's approach defensively against the run, against the pass as a pass rush team? Can the Steelers take advantage of the Bears by using multi-tight end formations, big Washington? I just think there's a lot unknown. The Steelers are better as underdogs under Tomlin. Kind of scares me a little bit. I don't trust the Bears. I've been kind of saying they are a little bit overrated and kind of like a fraud. And this to me is the fraud bowl. Whichever team wins, they probably are less of a fraud, while the team that loses is certainly a fraud. So when I can't trust either team, either quarterback, either side, there's too much inconsistency with the Steelers. And the Steelers are really hard to bet on or against because one week they beat the Colts. The next week they get slaughtered by the Chargers. So just hard to bet this game. I would stay away, if anything, but I respect the Bears pick. They're the home team. I think they've been a little bit more consistent, and they do have the better offense. So I totally understand that.
Colts at Chiefs.
I like the over 50.5. It's the 2 most efficient offenses in the NFL, and the Colts are.
Whatever stats tell you that the Chiefs have the 2nd most efficient offense in the NFL, throw it in the garbage.
Off a bye, so Shane Steichen's going to have some tricks. No 2 teams have punted less in the NFL than the Colts and the Chiefs. And the Colts and their opponents are averaging 53 a game, so I'm just going to take the over here. And their defense in back-to-back games is a little banged up, is giving up over 25 a
Not
game.
anymore.
The Chiefs average 29 at home. Mahomes has played much better at home, and
Yes.
Kansas City is desperate. Don't be shocked if the Chiefs don't have their performance of the year off that Denver loss. I'm taking the over. I think it's a close game. Kansas City wins 28-24. Take the over 50.5 points.
Okay, not a bad pick. I actually would lean under in this game. only because I respect Spags in a big spot. I don't trust Daniel Jones on the road in the cold. And I think the Chiefs offense is a little overrated, taking on what could be one of the best corner groups in football now because Charvarius Ward is expected back, who was playing at an elite level before he got hurt with the concussion. Sauce Gardner is now fully involved in this defense under Lou Anarumo, who's had the number of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the past as the Bengals defensive coach. So Sauce Gardner, Charvarius Ward, and Kenny Moore, one of the best nickel corners in football. No DeForest Buckner, but does that matter as much when the team you're playing does not run the ball? I don't think so. So let's dive in a little bit to this Chiefs offense thing. As I was listening to this, I was looking up their scores. And yes, they are a better home team. That being said, when you look at who they've piled their points up against, they scored 30 against the Lions, who had no secondary in that game. They were all injured. They put up 31 against the Raiders at home, 31-0. And they scored 28 against Washington, and it was a rather sloppy performance from my view. And then in the other games, the Chargers, they scored 21 on the road. They scored 17 against the Eagles at home. They scored 22 against the Giants. They scored 37 against the Ravens, who are a really beat up defense. Again, the Ravens and the Lions, when they played them, they were very, very beat up. They only scored 21 against the Bills. The Bucs just put up 32 on them. They only scored 19 against the Broncos. So I kind of think the Chiefs offense is a little overrated because they have no balance. Their offensive line is inconsistent. And Patrick Mahomes is inconsistent. He can throw the ball short, but his deep ball is atrocious right now. And I think Lou Anarumo knows how to slow down Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think that he's going to create creative ways to keep him in the pocket and pressure him. I think that they're going to have good coverages, sound coverages. They're really good in the red zone. And then on top of that, I think that the Chiefs defense is going to shut down Jonathan Taylor as best they can and force Daniel Jones to beat them. And the Chiefs do have a top pass defense in the league in terms of coverage. They do struggle to get pressure, but I think Spags will bring the blitz on third down, which Daniel Jones certainly will be affected by, especially injured Daniel Jones. He's been injured this week. So I actually kind of like the under. I think this is more of like a 27-23, 27-21, 24-23. I could be wrong. I'm not going to bet this. That's just kind of my feel, especially in Kansas City, where games tend to go under. But that's just me. I would take the points in a close game, but I'm not really playing the spread. If anything, I might tease the Colts, but I'm not really like, this is the Chiefs season. The Chiefs have to win this game. If the Chiefs lose this game, they're out. That's bottom line. Chiefs lose this game, they're basically out. It's crazy to say that, but they are basically out. Next.
Seahawks at Titans.
I never take huge favorites. I'm breaking my rule. Seattle minus 13.5 at Tennessee. Tennessee's 0-5 at home. 6 of their losses are by over 10. Seattle outgained the Rams by 165 points, outplayed them the final 3 quarters, almost won with 4 picks. They're a great road team, 11-2, because defense and running games travel. Seattle does both well. Sam Darnold, despite the picks, PFF has him ranked number 2. Tennessee's atrocious.
Look at this.
Worst point differential in the league. They do nothing right. I think the locker room may be lost at this point. I hate taking huge favorites. Seattle wins and covers 31-13.
So Tennessee averages about 14.8 points per game, according to that graphic. So Seattle would have to score, if you lay 13, they'd have to score 28. If you lay 13.5, they'd have to score probably around 30. That being said, though, Seattle has a top 4 defense in football. They're in the category with Houston, Denver, Philadelphia. Seattle is in that group. That's the best defenses in football. I would be shocked if Tennessee scored more than 14 points. I would be shocked if Tennessee scored 17 points in this game, which means Seattle has to score 27 to 30 points, maybe even 24 if they only score 10. Tennessee. So I like Seattle in this game. I made it a best bet minus 13. 14 and up is a little dicey, but 13, I think that Seattle can win by 2 touchdowns. They have an explosive offense. And really the only thing Tennessee does well on defense is interior pressure from Jeffrey Simmons. Everywhere else, they're not great against the run. They're not great against the pass. They don't have good corners. They don't have good safeties. Their linebackers stink. They're one of the worst teams I've ever seen. They're one of the worst teams of all time. They are. The only game they won was that Arizona game where they fumbled twice. Arizona fumbled in their own end zone and into Tennessee's end zone. And it resulted in 14 points going the other way. So that's the only game Tennessee won and will win for the rest of the year. Their weapons consist of their running backs, and the Seahawks are the best team against the run, arguably in the NFL. They shut down Kyren Williams last week outside of one run. And then that's it. Like, they have nothing. They have a Okonkwo. They have Van Jefferson, who's a journeyman, and they have DK at receiver. And A.U. Manor is out. Calvin Ridley is out. Cam Ward's going to be on constant duress. Seattle's probably angry about their offensive performance last week with 4 turnovers. Sam Darnold's going to have a bounce back. I think this is a perfect situation for Seattle to score 30 points, to hammer the Titans, to just showcase that they're an elite team. They beat the piss out of the Saints, the Commanders, and the Cardinals. Like 3 of their last 5 games. Against bad teams, Seattle has absolutely wrecked bad teams this year. And I think this is the worst team they've played. It is.
Panthers at 49ers.
Okay, I'm going to take Carolina +7. They've won 3 straight on the road. Bryce Young is...
Oopsie. I got. There we go.
49ers.
Okay, I'm going to take Carolina +7.
This is dicey, Colin. This is bold, Colin. This is bold. Bryce Young on the road, prime time. That Niners offense, it's bold. It's bold. I understand this pick because you're fading the Niners defense. I totally get it. But if the Niners won this game 38-24 and covered, I would not be surprised. I would not want to fade the Niners offense right now. I would not.
They've won 3 straight on the road. Bryce Young is 6-4 if you're not watching. And actually, he's had back-to-back games completing 68% of his throws. And the Niners defense is a mess. It's all beat up. Robert Saleh's doing it with smoke and mirrors. They are just depleted. And I'll tell you this. The Niners are a weird team. Go look the last year and a half, how they played after wins. Some of their worst games have been after they win and you think they're going to get momentum. The defense has the fewest sacks in the NFL this year, so Bryce Young, who's been good on the road, playing with momentum, is going to have time to throw. I think it's close. I think San Francisco probably at home finds a way to win. Also, the Niners, despite having Christian McCaffrey, are not running the ball particularly well. 8 of their 11 games under 100 yards rushing. I'm going to take 7 points. I think Carolina is one of those teams that people aren't giving the credit to them because they've been so bad and so dysfunctional. Carolina can go toe-to-toe. Carolina won at Lambeau.
The Packers aren't that good. Like, what is this?
Carolina +7. Number does not
I take the Niners over the Packers right now, to be fair.
make a lot of sense to me. I'm going to take the points. I think it's a game that goes to the very end. I'll take the home team. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's a fair pick. I won't say that's a bad pick. I do think the Niners will win this game. I would not want to get in front of the Niners offense. I think their passing offense against the Panthers, who are not a good pass defense, if I were to look at just statistically, I think they're like bottom 6 in EPA defensively. I'm going to check the exact stats, but they're pretty good against the run overall, the Panthers defense, but they have very little pass rush. The only pass rush that might be worse than the Niners is the Panthers, right? Defensively, they are pretty mid. They allow the 25th most yards per drive, 21st plays, 20th in time of possession. They're actually, according to normal stats, 21st in yards per attempt against the run and 16th in yards allowed to the pass. But I think if you looked at advanced statistics, they're better against the run than the pass. This is kind of odd, but and you look at so on the road, the Panthers have beaten the Packers 16-13 in a game that they probably should not have won. They got outgained by 100 yards in that game, and it took a Jordan Love disaster class in order to win that game. They beat the Falcons, who are extremely flawed, and yes, they did pass all over the Falcons, but they probably would have lost if Penix finishes the game, because Kirk Cousins entered the game and it immediately went downhill. So they probably would have lost that game to the Atlanta Falcons. And they, on the road, the previous time, so the only time they've really scored points on the road this year is the Falcons game. Otherwise, they scored 10 at Jacksonville. They scored 22 in a game that I was at, Arizona, 22 in a comeback effort. They were down like 24-3 at one point. I was there. They scored 13 at New England. They scored 13 at the Jets, 13-6 win. They scored 16 at the Packers. So there's only been 2 games where they scored more than 20 on the road, and one of them was last week in overtime against the Falcons, a divisional opponent. So I kind of think the road stuff's misleading. What also scares me about the Panthers is they've been blown out multiple times. And they've allowed 40 points twice this year. Buffalo and New England scored 40 on them, right? So the Panthers' inconsistency would scare me. But if they can protect Bryce, he should be able to move the ball against this defense. He should. That being said, I think the Niners are going to be able to score 30 in this game. So he had a projected score of like 28-24, something like that, 27-24. I think the Niners are scoring 30 plus. So can the Panthers score 24 is kind of the question. If you think they can, then I think it's a solid bet. They should be able to run the ball okay, but it's just going to come down to can Bryce keep up? I think that's kind of going to be the story of the game. Can Bryce keep up with Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and the 49er offense? But like I said, I don't know. So his picks are the Panthers +7, not a bad pick. Seattle to cover 13, which I also like that bet, so I'm with him there. He likes the over in Colts Chiefs, which I personally don't love. I could see it happening, but I don't love it. Bears, I would back the Bears if I had to pick someone in that game. Packers and Vikings, I like the Vikings. So I'm against him on 2. I don't mind 2 of his picks. And then, yeah, so really I don't hate any of his picks in this video other than the Packers. I don't like the Packers. But other than that, I think they're solid picks. Solid picks. I don't really have a huge opinion on any of them. Seattle, I do like Seattle. I do like the over in Niners-Panthers. That is one that I do like. The over. Rather than taking the Panthers, I would just take the over. Right? 27-24, that would be over. 49.5 is the total. So I would just take the over in that game. So that's the Blazin 5, guys, for week number 12. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. It's Mitch. Let's make some money. Peace.